YouTube, Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my review for Power Rangers issue 17. And much like Mighty Morphin issue 17, this is very much a place-setting issue, kind of like the pilot of the next arc, getting us used to where we're going. For this one, though, I think it's a little bit different, because with Mighty Morphin, we're obviously setting the stage for the next arc, and we're doing that here as well. But I feel like with this issue, we're also setting a more permanent template for the Omegas. This is something that I brought attention to in my review for the Eltarian War finale, but I was curious to see where the Omegas go from here, because both of their major storylines have been very much circumstantial and kind of, rolling right into it. They were created to deal with the aftermath of Shattered Grid and come up with a peace conference, and then they immediately got involved in the Imperial conflict. But I was like, okay, well, what's next for them? Are they just going to be space protectors? Are they going to stumble themselves into a new conflict? And I like that this issue kind of laid down, like, yeah, the Omegas are going to be space-traveling Rangers, and set kind of a baseline precedent. Because, MMPR already has that. They're protectors of Angel Grove and the Earth, and these are their stories. But the Omegas, like I said, I was kind of like, okay, is their mission going to end at some point? I mean, it probably will, but this kind of set more of a groundwork for them so that we can have further stories without having to question, like, well, why are they still up there since their initial mission statement is done? But a lot of this issue was a little bit kind of smaller scale, less exciting stuff, but I still found it to be pretty interesting stuff. I mean, each Ranger has kind of their individual story. Jason is kind of obsessing over trying to figure things out and find the next threat and also find Draken. And it's the cat that kind of makes him see the big picture from this jellyfish metaphor of, like, he's focusing on this one thing where they should be focusing on all the things. And that's when they decide to send out a message to the galaxy to become protectors, which I'll get to in a second. And Trini is trying to fix G, and G's like, Jason! I still don't know, do you pronounce this G or is it Z? I don't know how X's work. Anyway, she's trying to fix the robot with Billy's help, and she can't quite figure out how to get its memories right, but then it turns out that G, I'm going to call him that for now, is like, I don't want my memories back. Those memories are traumatizing. I'm like, yeah, but you're only a can opener, so you don't even have emotions. Basically, that's setting up something potentially interesting, I guess, about him not wanting all the past memories of trauma. Don't know where they're going to go with that, but that's happening. But at least they have a version of G online to continue helping them. Meanwhile, Zack is investigating a missing weapon from this Morphin Master's vault that he's drawn attention to, and it turns out, like, one of the citizens they saved from the planet, it was the citizens they saved from the planet that was, like, destructive citizens, like they came from a race that caused a lot of destruction, but they saved him, and he stole one of the Morphin Master's weapons because he's mistrusting. I think that's setting up some sort of interesting politics, but also plays a role in what the Omegas want to do, and I think I'm going to imagine it's going to play a role in what kind of role Zack's going to want to play in this new mission. But it was kind of some interesting stuff. I was kind of looking at the Morphin Master's vault stuff for some Easter eggs. I thought there were some weapons that looked Die Ranger-esque. And some of the ones that the guy stole, there was an MMPR red helmet. I don't know how he got that, unless it was from when one of the emissaries died and their helmet was in phase, but it was like fully colored. It could have just been an Easter egg. It doesn't matter. But you have those three different things going on, and then they all come together at the end, and they send out this broadcast throughout the galaxy, basically introducing themselves, saying, we're the Omega Rangers, we're here to help. And this is a really random thing it reminded me of, but it reminded me of the scene in which Leia was broadcasting herself around the galaxy in the leaked Duel of the Fates script that was like turned into a comic and stuff. But I don't know why. That's really random because it's like a reference to something that technically doesn't exist. I really like that scene. It's probably one of my favorite Omega scenes, honestly, because I really like that they kind of finally gave the Omegas kind of a home. Because like I said, their original mission was done. They just kind of been rolling with the punches, and I like that we're kind of establishing them fully as like home base. We have spacefaring adventure rangers, and I thought that was really neat. And there was also something huge that happened during that message, is we got a glimpse at what appears to be Andros. I mean, possibly, probably. Like when I first saw him, like, is that Andros or Draken? Because Draken also has like the streaks in his hair, but he didn't have the scar and that weird like half-shaved head or the anger. So I'm gonna assume it's Andros. But let's play a new game, Draken or Andros. I think it was Andros, and it makes sense because we also ran into Astronema, and I love the way we're mixing stuff together like that. I think that's interesting. But in addition to their broadcast going out to the good guys, it also goes out to the bad guys in what I believe are the remnants of the vampire gang or somebody they pissed off, and they're coming after him. So I think that'll just be kind of a first action conflict. I certainly don't want that to be the main story. Like, right now we're just kind of laying the groundwork of the Omegas are around protecting, but I don't want the main storyline to just be that. I want it to be something cooler. Maybe Andros is a hint at that, but we'll see. But overall, I really liked it. It wasn't the most exciting issue, but I thought it was a solid groundwork laying issue, and I think a much needed groundwork laying issue for the Omegas long term and not just for this arc. So I would give it a 3 out of 5. But as we creep closer timeline-wise into when Zeo and stuff would happen. I'm immensely curious how it's going to go, because obviously the universe has changed and the timeline has changed as a result of Shattered Grid, so that's why there's so many changes. You know, this is obviously a different timeline anyway, but also they use cell phones here. There's still people that think this is supposed to be set in between the show's timeline. From the beginning, it's in a future time where we have cell phones. Sorry, I just had to bring that up, because I still people saying like, oh, I can't believe that they think this is in between the show. This would never happen. It's not. They've been using cell phones from the beginning. Anyway, mini rant. Regardless, this was set in a different universe where things were farther in the future, but from Shattered Grid we learned that basically roughly the same events as we know from the show happened in the original timeline before Shattered Grid, and now they're changing. And I'm just so immensely curious as we get closer to Zeo about certain things. Namely Jason, because we're going to be heading Season 3 territory soon. We've introduced Zeo elements such as the Zeo Crystal and the Machine Empire, and I'm curious if he still becomes gold and how that interfaces with the Omega. That's going to be interesting. Maybe a discussion for another time. But what do you guys think of the new beginning of the arc? Are you excited as we inch towards Zeo territory? How do you want to see that go? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell. Notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.